say none with my family. I thought when change came, my family was ready for it. Some on the cutting edge of it. But you know, it was such a difficult time, and as a person with a newspaper that was editorializing on the cutting edge of change, there were an awful lot of phone calls, threats, both at the paper and at home. My wife Dolores, God bless her, took most of the calls home. She heard some terrible abusive language. If my son were here, he would tell you, and he has said very recently, that he remembers nights when police officers stayed in the basement because editorials in the morning had prompted threats. But I would have to, I'd have to say that as difficult as the time was, and as violent as isolated incidents could be, I would say for Nashville, it generally happened that when something terrible happened, it helped change minds in the right direction. And, you know, I sort of traced in my remarks, starting in high school, I began to think a little bit differently than I had before. And by the time I was in the Air Force, I knew there was something wrong with the picture. And then when I came back, I was so happy to see it change. Something has been, it might be made of, you know, I did, while I was Justice Department, I was the victim of physical assault and went to the hospital, but I think that what happened to me and to others that day worked in the same way. The bombing of Mr. Ruby's house here changed minds in the right direction. Nashville doesn't need that. And I think the same thing happened. Generally, I think those of us who worried about those threats found that in the aftermath of them, the mere fact that they were known about helped change minds of people who really wanted to do the right thing. And generally, when change came to Nashville, I think it came because there were people who understood fundamentally that indecency and dignity and justice were not to be the hallmarks